India's management fraternity. I congratulate Preetha Reddy on being conferred with AIMA Life Fellowship for her leadership to AIMA and contribution to the management movement in the country. AIMA was among the first national bodies to acknowledge my governance reform efforts. In 2006, AIMA gave me the Public Service Excellence Award for my campaign for the right to information law. It was a very timely encouragement, and I still cherish that award. I commend AIMA for its efforts to promote good governance, both in companies and in governance. It has been the flag bearer of Indian management for 6 decades and has made vital contribution to Indian economy since the early years of independent India. AIMA has played a pivotal role in developing India's management capacity. It has helped Indian management become world-class through a variety of management development activities, including education, testing, and conferences. AIMA has made management qualification more affordable and accessible by offering courses through the distance mode. It conducts the most widely used management admission test, MAT, Management Aptitude Test, which allows students from all kinds of backgrounds to get admission in business schools. And now it is setting out to provide management training to Indian workforce and entrepreneurs by setting up the Sector Skills Council in Management and Entrepreneurship, which will help Indian workers become more productive. It is a very positive initiative, and I am confident that AIMA will succeed in it. I am pleased that AIMA has dedicated a session to discuss the strategies to win against all odds. It is important to promote the belief that the system can be changed if one is committed to improvement. In business and in politics, most of the innovations and improvements occur because of the outsiders who notice the infirmities of the system and want to change the rules. The insiders have no incentive to change a system that serves their vested interests. The incumbents tend to spend most of their energies only on preventive competition. However, it is not easy for the outsider to break into the system and win. The establishment starts with many advantages: familiarity, track record, organization, allies, and resources. Each time somebody stands up to it and questions it, the establishment fights back. It begins by outright dismissal of scrutiny. Then it maligns the scrutinizer, and if that too fails, it tries to acquire the reformer. As Gandhiji said, first they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. The Aam Aadmi Party is a case study in winning against all odds. It is also a unique case study because it not only had to beat the established parties in elections, it has also had to struggle against a restrictive governance system. When AAP was voted back to power in a near clean sweep of the assembly elections, it seemed that the party of the people had overcome its biggest challenge. However, its job as government has been made very difficult by a system that centralizes power and is insensitive to local needs. Still, the AAP government has achieved many changes that were considered impossible by many. The costs of electricity and water have been substantially lowered for the poor, which leaves more money in their pockets and to spend on healthcare and education. The capacity for affordable healthcare and education has been increased to help improve the economic potential of the larger part of the population. Corruption has been reduced by empowering the citizens and acting against the corrupt public officials. Transfer and posting industry in government jobs has been dismantled. Such change was considered fantasy under the traditional regimes, but it has been achieved because of the power of conviction and unconventional politics. With every success, AAP is able to convince others not only of its own credentials as a change agent, but also of its political philosophy. AAP's success has made a lot of people think again about the previously set formula for political success. This, I think, is greater victory for AAP. However, success is the key, changing hearts and minds. Winning is important, at least winnability is. It is hard to rally people behind a cause that is unlikely to be accomplished. To achieve change, it is essential that people believe in the feasibility of challenging the system. Being right is the foundation of winnability. Belief can move mountains. If one is convinced of the validity of one's purpose, the might of the establishment does not deter him or her. Being just is the biggest part of a new leader's charisma. Winning at any cost is a trait that people associate with the establishment. However, being right is not enough. Being different also matters. The newcomer's greatest weapon is the fight against the flawed incumbent is changing the agenda. The incumbents tend to spend most of their energy defending the status quo. However, in any contest, the power shifts to the one who takes the initiative and sets the agenda, especially an agenda that promises real change. The way to neutralize the incumbent's money and muscle advantage is to use innovation communication strategies. New media has come as a gift to the emerging leaders and reformers. Starting with Obama in the US, the social media has proved a potent weapon in the hands of younger leaders. Sometimes reinventing an old tool can be a very effective move. Aam Aadmi Party has brought back the Gandhi Cap, which was identified with patriotic volunteers during the freedom struggle, and has made it into a strong identity statement. Focus is another requirement for making effective challenge against the establishment. Spreading a revolution too wide can dilute its strength and integrity. Therefore, the reformers have to build an inverted pyramid by picking the fights they can win first and then broadening the front against the establishment. The recent successes of the unconventional, change-oriented leaders all over the world have encouraged more ordinary people to stand up for their liberty, dignity, and rights. While it would be asking for too much for all expectations to be met, it has been proved during the past decade that the status quo can be challenged and dismantled quite quickly. The established patterns of power are no longer valid, and change is only constant now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kejriwal, for having graced us this evening and being here with us. Your presence is of great encouragement to us all. We will now have interaction with the audience. We have already received some questions. If you'd like to address a question to any of the esteemed speakers, may I request you to please write it down and please hand it over to our volunteers.
We have plenty of questions. I'll start with the first one, and meanwhile, I'll go through the others, and if I can summarize them together, then we can ask them. So first question was to Shri Arvind Kejriwal. What management lessons can be learned from how you were successful to get the public vote for you to power in Delhi? This is from Mr. Arvinder Singh Brar.
अभी जो मैंने अपने स्पीच में भी बोला, लेकिन When I look back, हम लोग जब चुनाव लड़े थे, एक दो चीज़ें जो मैं आप लोगों से यहाँ पे जितने लोग बैठे हुए हैं, बहुत छोटा हूँ, एक्सपीरियंस में भी छोटा हूँ, नॉलेज में भी छोटा हूँ, लेकिन अब जो छोटे से जीवन में जो मैंने सीखा है कि ये ज़िंदगी, दिस लाइफ इज़ टू प्रेशियस टू बी वेस्टेड फॉर मनी. पैसे के लिए इस ज़िंदगी को बर्बाद करना बहुत बेकार है. बहुत ही खूबसूरत और बहुत ही, और हिंदू धर्म में कहते हैं 84 लाख योनियों के बाद ये ज़िंदगी मिलती है. सो इस ज़िंदगी को अगर हम दूसरों के लिए जिएं, अगर हम समाज के लिए, देश के लिए, दूसरे इंसानों के लिए अगर इस ज़िंदगी को जिएं, तो जो आनंद आपको मिलता है वो आनंद आपको पैसे खरीद के नहीं दे सकता. दूसरी चीज़, जब आप दूसरों के लिए जीते हैं तो उसमें इस दुनिया की, इस कायनात की सारी शक्तियाँ आपकी मदद करती हैं. व्हेन यू वॉक ऑन द पाथ ऑफ ट्रुथ, और जब आप दूसरों के लिए निस्वार्थ भाव से जीते हैं तो इस कायनात की सारी शक्तियाँ आपकी मदद करती हैं। मैंने सन 2000 में इनकम टैक्स की नौकरी प्रैक्टिकली छोड़ी थी। उसके बाद मैं कई महीनों तक झुग्गियों में रहा दिल्ली की। अगर हम लोग उस टाइम ये सोचते कि एक पार्टी बनाएंगे, चुनाव लड़ेंगे, फिर मुख्यमंत्री बनेंगे, फलाना ढिमका, मैं जानता हूँ बहुत सारे ऐसे पॉलिटिशियंस हैं जो पूरी ज़िंदगी बिता देते हैं और एक एमएलए भी नहीं बन पाते, क्योंकि वो एमएलए बनना चाहते हैं और एमएलए बनने के लिए वो सब कुछ दांव पे लगा देते हैं। हमने कभी अपनी ज़िंदगी में भी नहीं सोचा था कि हम चुनाव लड़ेंगे। हमने कभी अपनी ज़िंदगी में भी नहीं सोचा था कि हम कभी पॉलिटिक्स में आएंगे, पार्टी बनाएंगे, एट्सेट्रा एट्सेट्रा। हमने जो कुछ भी सोचा वो समाज के लिए सोचा था। झुग्गियों में रहते थे, लोगों को राशन नहीं मिलता था, राशन दिलाने के लिए लड़ा करते थे। वहाँ पे उनके टॉयलेट्स काम नहीं किया करते थे, टॉयलेट साफ़ कराने के लिए लड़ा करते थे। पानी की समस्या थी, पानी के लिए लड़ते थे। फिर अन्ना जी के साथ मुलाकात हुई, लोकपाल बिल के लिए लड़ते थे। फिर लोकपाल बिल जब इन्होंने नहीं दिया तो लगने लगा अब राजनीति साफ़ करनी पड़ेगी, अब पार्टी बनानी पड़ेगी। सो इट वॉज अ नेचुरल प्रोग्रेस। सो मैंने तो यही सीखा है कि अगर आप पैसे के लिए काम करेंगे, अपने लिए काम करेंगे, तो मुझे लगता है कि थोड़ी सी दिक्कत है। अगर आप समाज के लिए काम करेंगे तो सब कुछ अपने आप होता जाता है। आई थिंक दिस इज वन लेसन दैट आई हैव लर्नड।
Next question is to Mr. Rajiv Bajaj. His question: scooters, motorcycles, pro biking, ATM. What next big thing?
The question is scooters, motorcycles, pro biking, KTM. What's the next big thing? I don't know. That is the honest answer. Wow. The truth can be explosive. You know, in much the same way as Arvind explained, I think, right now. For us also, it has been a journey of adaptation. We didn't start by saying we are going to do all these good and great things. You know, this kind of typical, very egoistic management way of thinking that, you know, I make the plans, I will achieve, this mission, vision statements and all. Actually, we all know it is not worth much, but we still do it because we are managers, we are supposed to do it. But the reality is that it is better to be humble, it is better to observe, it is better to have one starting point. As I tried to present, take one position in the marketplace. It may be a position of anti-corruption, it may be a position of one sports bike. So as whoever the Chinese gentleman was said that the longest journey begins with one step. You have to take that one step, you have to start functioning, and then the structure falls into place. So we started with one motorcycle. It led us to the next one, it led us to our acquisition of KTM. It has led us last week to launch for the first time a four-wheeler in the world that is a category of its own. So I believe not in thinking so much, but in observing and building from the observation, because I believe in what Charles Darwin said when he talked about the propagation of the species. He said that it is not the most intelligent or the strongest of the species that survive. It is the ones that are most adaptive to change. So those who have the humility, as Arvind said, to listen, to acknowledge rather than to push back and to defend. So if you can accept the reality and you can adapt to that, then your path will become clear one by one. We don't need to build Rome in a day. We have to just do it one by one. So I don't know what is next. Is it electric vehicles? Is it, as some people say, vehicles that are... Rekha was asking me, when are you going to have a Google three-wheeler? So I said, what is a Google three-wheeler? She said, the three-wheeler that doesn't need anybody to drive it. So I was telling her jokingly, first we must have Google governance so that we can be governed without politicians. Then we will have a Google three-wheeler. So that is our approach, just adapt step by step.
The next two questions I'll read for Mr. Kejriwal. Number one is, and these are two quite different, but I'll still read both of them together. We expect different sort of politics from you, but why do you support Laluji in Bihar? Second is more personal to you. Heartful congratulations on winning against the biggest odd, the cuff. Just two tips to the audience for the same.
I am not supporting anyone in Bihar. I have not gone there for campaigning also. There was a governance workshop that was organized by the Chief Minister of Bihar before the elections were announced. It was on right to delivery of services, etc., something like that. So I had gone for that workshop, I had gone for that seminar, and that's it. I'm not campaigning for any party in Bihar. As far as my cough is concerned, I went for naturopathy in Jindal Center in Bangalore, and that has really helped.
This is from our friends in Pakistan. Imran Khan in Pakistan and you in India are the third force, and both are symbol of change and hope for all those who want change. What is your view about regional cooperation?
देखिए, अभी पाकिस्तान के दोस्त बाहर खड़े हुए थे, उनसे बात हो रही थी. लोग एक दूसरे को बहुत प्यार करते हैं. वहाँ के लोग, हमारे लोग, चाहे कोई भी देश के लोग हो, कहने को कहते हैं इन दोनों देशों के बीच लड़ाई है, इन दोनों देशों के बीच बनती नहीं है, ये वो है. लेकिन लोग जो है वो एक दूसरे को बहुत प्यार करते हैं, और लोगों को एक दूसरे से कोई लड़ाई नहीं है, कोई वो नहीं है, कोई गिला शिकवा नहीं है. ये सारी पॉलिटिक्स है, और पॉलिटिक्स ऑफ पावर है जो कि सब कुछ गड़बड़ कर देती है. सो ऑब्वियसली ऑल ऑफ अस नीड टू कोऑपरेट in every sphere of life, and that is extremely important for human growth.
The next one again to Mr. Kejriwal. What were the dissimilarities in your elections in Delhi versus in Varanasi?
As he rightly said, it was the opponent that was. वहाँ पे जो opponent थे और यहाँ पे जो opponent थे, I think I was the same, the opponent was different.
To Mr. Rajiv Bajaj, there is a question. Please tell us about quiet.
About?
Quiet. Q-U...
Cute.
Cute. Okay. Cute. Whatever.
Cute, spelled as Q-U-T, is the name of a four-wheeler that we introduced.
Spelling here was actually quiet.
Well,
Okay.
we've been quiet about it for too long, so maybe people think it is called quiet. Friends, our thought process was like this. I mean, it's a very long answer actually. That we all know that in the cities of our world, not only in this country, emission and safety are the two paramount concerns. You all know what is the situation of emissions living in Delhi. And we all know that India has the dubious record of the highest number of road fatalities in the world. Now the question is, how is this problem going to be solved? For years, for decades, the auto industry has tried to propose that more technology is the answer at the end of the day. Now cars today have more technology than they did 30 years back, much more. But I don't think the problem has got any better. So I think it's a bit like the mindset issue I tried to present. There was a time when people thought that the world was flat and the sun went around the earth. I think it's the same thing. People think bigger cars, heavier cars, stronger cars, cars that go faster, make things safer. Now the question is, whose safety are we talking about? Are we talking about the safety of the 5% of the people who sit inside the car? Or are we talking of the safety of the pedestrian, the bicyclist, the guy on the two-wheeler, the guy on the three-wheeler who is outside of the car? Those are the 95% of the people who are getting hurt. So therefore, in our view, we position ourselves, again it comes back to having a position in the marketplace. We position ourselves as an anti-car company. Again, it comes back to what I said in the beginning. For every truth, there is another truth which is the opposite. So there will be people who believe that cars are God's gift to mankind. And then there is the minority like us that believes that cars are the problem themselves. And at least for intra-city transport, whether personal or public, we need small, light vehicles like two-wheelers or three-wheelers or little four-wheelers. Or then for public transportation, we need trams like you see them in Zurich, or effective metro systems. I believe Delhi has one now, so on and so forth. So it is along those lines of thought, in that direction, hopefully a correct direction, that we developed a light four-wheeler. We called it Cute. Fundamentally, with very good design features, it delivers about twice the mileage and half the emission of a small car, and it's very compact, very light. So even if it knocks you down, it might break a bone, but it's not going to kill you. So with that concept in mind, we think we have created a new category of vehicles for the cities of our world, and we called it Cute.
Thank you. Last two questions for Mr. Kejriwal and one question to...
Sir, 1 minute, if I may interrupt. But the most important part I forgot to tell you. So for the last 20 years, 30 years, ever since I joined business, everybody that knew my father told him, whether they were his friends, family, business, industry, and most of all people from government, from politics, because he was in the Rajya Sabha and stuff, that you are the largest maker of three-wheelers in the world. But you know, when people come to India, they see the three-wheelers, they come to our capital, they look at these three-wheelers and, what are you making? This belongs to the last century, so on and so forth. Make something better. So as a good son, I decided to do something about it. And so my team and I went about this task of making a four-wheeler instead of a three-wheeler. So it has four wheels, it has four doors, it has fuel injection, it has a hard roof, it has a steering wheel, it has seat belts, it has everything. And later on I thought that this is a good example of Make in India, innovation, all these big things that big people talk about. But you'll be surprised to know today, we have Euro approval. This vehicle is approved for sale in Europe. It's on its way to Turkey. That's the first market it will go to. It's going to 16 other countries next month and slowly expand from there to about 55 countries. But guess what? India hasn't approved it. You know, that's why I tried to say कि स्वच्छ बोलने से भारत स्वच्छ नहीं होता और Make in India बोलने से कुछ बनता नहीं इंडिया में. You know, it takes a long time.
Okay, we'll have last two questions from Mr. Kejriwal, and there were many unanswered ones. So maybe after the session, if Mr. Bajaj agrees or Mr. Kejriwal agrees, please do ask those questions. One question is, you got Magsaysay Award for the RTI in 2005, which is a gun for ₹10 in the hands of public. Don't you regret joining politics? Had you continued with social re-engineering, you could have been heading towards Nobel Prize.
अभी जो मैंने बोला, ना मैंने मैग्सेसे अवार्ड के लिए काम किया था और ना मुझे नोबेल प्राइज़ चाहिए. अगर मैग्सेसे अवार्ड के लिए काम किया होता तो कभी मैग्सेसे अवार्ड नहीं मिलता और नोबेल प्राइज़ के लिए काम करने की कोई इच्छा नहीं है. सो नंबर 1. नंबर 2 इज़, कई लोग बोलते हैं कि पॉलिटिक्स में नहीं आना चाहिए था. ये एक बार ही आप जब सरकार में आते हैं, आप रियलाइज़ करते हैं कि जिन चीज़ों के लिए, मतलब एक छोटे से रिफॉर्म के लिए एक्टिविस्ट्स की, लोगों की ज़िंदगी बीत जाती है लड़ते, लेकिन सरकार इतनी पावरफुल है कि जब सरकार के अंदर होते हैं तो आप ऐसी पता नहीं कितनी चीज़ें एक दिन में कर पाते हैं. सो आई थिंक ऑनेस्ट पॉलिटिक्स इज़ द आंसर टू मेनी ऑफ आवर प्रॉब्लम्स एंड वी ऑल नीड टू वर्क टुवर्ड्स दैट.
And the last question, which is actually two questions, but I'll convert them into one. When will we see harmony amongst the state government and the central government for transforming the lives of the people in Delhi? And second is, what is stopping you from appreciating goods of Mr. Modi's initiatives?
तो पहला क्वेश्चन पहले करते हैं कि हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के अंदर हर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल बॉडी और हर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अथॉरिटी का रोल डिफाइंड है. स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का ये रोल है, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का ये रोल है, जुडिशरी का ये रोल है. तो जब एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अथॉरिटी दूसरे के काम में टांग अड़ाना चालू कर दे तब बड़ी दिक्कत होती है. Suppose rather than Mr. Modi going for UN, I start going for UN General Assembly, then there will be a problem, I can't go. उसी तरह से दिल्ली की गवर्नेंस, दिल्ली के लोगों ने हमको चुन के भेजा है, हम गवर्नेंस कर रहे हैं दिल्ली की. उसमें जब वो डे टू डे बेसिस पे हर चीज में गड़बड़ करते हैं, आई विल गिव यू वेरी स्पेसिफिक एग्जांपल्स. हम कुछ भी ऑर्डर पास करते हैं, जैसे दिल्ली में हमने एग्रीकल्चर लैंड के सर्कल रेट बढ़ाए, दैट इज कंप्लीटली विद इन द डोमेन ऑफ दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट. Mr. Vahanawati, who was the former AG of India in 2012, had given an opinion that this is within the domain of Delhi government. Mr. P. Chidambaram, who was the Home Minister at that time, had given an opinion that this is the domain of Delhi government. अभी हम लोगों ने आके दिल्ली में एग्रीकल्चर लैंड के रेट्स बढ़ाए, नोटिफिकेशन जारी किया. जिस दिन नोटिफिकेशन जारी किया, 2 दिन के बाद सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का ऑर्डर आ गया, वी हियर बाय डिक्लेयर योर ऑर्डर नल एंड वॉइड. Where do we stand? आज तक भारत के इतिहास में 65 साल में किसी भी गवर्नर ने किसी भी मुख्यमंत्री के एक भी ऑर्डर को नल एंड वॉइड नहीं किया है, कभी भी 65 साल में. दिल्ली 1992 में कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का अमेंडमेंट हुआ था और दिल्ली असेंबली बनी थी. दिल्ली असेंबली को बने हुए 23 साल हो गए. 23 साल में किसी भी लेफ्टिनेंट गवर्नर ने दिल्ली के किसी भी मुख्यमंत्री, शीला दीक्षित जी थी, मदन लाल खुराना जी थे, साहिब सिंह वर्मा जी थे, किसी भी लेफ्टिनेंट गवर्नर